Hey there, welcome. It's Kristin with Somatics. In this video, I'm going to be demonstrating the movement called the Pectoral Clock. This is out in response to Leslie, who's a member of the Somatics online learning community. That's one of my membership plans on my website, and she just wanted a video to kind of clarify this movement. It's part of an audio lesson that she was enjoying, and she just wanted to make sure that she really knew what I was describing. And, the videos on YouTube, people want to watch, all right? But you really, to get the most out of your somatics practice, it's not about watching. It's not about like, oh, I want to be like that person on the screen and focusing outside of yourself. It's about closing your eyes and sensing and feeling and being aware and taking back control of how you move. And when your eyes are closed, you actually have more capacity within your brain to sense, okay? But here I am on YouTube because this is where folks are hanging out trying to learn stuff, including somatics. So for the pectoral clock, it's not just about the pecs or the chest. It's about how we contract. We might be into rotational patterns, but we have one shoulder forward a bit, tightness in our belly all the way down to our hips. And so not just the pectoral clock, but that's what it gets called. And it's not just the pec region. And also the clock is kind of a visual for you to think about. Your arm is going to be moving once we come down on the floor. It's going to be sweeping like the hand on the face of a clock. And it'll all make sense when we get down on the floor and get on with this. Okay, so come on down on your side. You pick which side you want to be on. You might want a pillow for your head. And let's get started. So come on down on your side, and if you're comfortable with your arm under your head, you can use that as your pillow. Otherwise, grab a fairly large one, meaning big surface, and then we'll have our legs bent, kind of comfortable distance out in front of us. Avoid pulling your heels under your bum, and just take a few breaths, and if you like, you can start with your arm up over your head. All right, so we're going to take some breaths towards the side of our body that faces the ceiling. And again, you can close your eyes and just listen to my words, because who wants to watch somebody breathe? Okay, so just take some breaths. And then you can elevate your arm a little bit so it's running parallel to the floor. I need to move down a little bit away from my wall, but so the arm is now running parallel to the floor. And I'd like you, before you start to move, think about how would your body contract to take the arm down in front of you and then towards your thighs, and you could start moving into that movement. So I'm contracting my belly and chest. My arm swings and swoops towards my legs. And then I'm going to release through the front of my body, letting my arm swoop slowly across the imaginary clock back up towards 12. And just taking breaths along the way. Okay, so remember, we're kind of reaching towards the 12 o'clock on the face of the clock with our arm over our head. We could call towards the foot of the mat 6. Out in front of us, I guess, would be 9. Behind us would be 3. But for now, we have our arm up towards 12, and let's just take a nice breath. And then start to shrink in our centers, our bellies shorten. I'm actually letting the arm that I'm lying on swoop a little bit too, so I have my head supported, and my arm swings down. Can we feel how the belly and chest contracts? And then from that tension, slowly melt and release, so your arm starts to swing out in front of you, chest opens a bit, belly lengthens, arm swoops up towards 12. Now, please don't turn this into a stretch. Just feel the lengthening come back into your muscles. Okay, and then we'll try it again. So contracting in our fronts, the muscles of the front of the body contract, the back of the muscles, or the muscles on the back lengthen. And, your arm doesn't have to go all the way towards 6, but you could. You might even want to reach your arm towards your foot of mat and roll your shoulder in a bit. Then undo all that. Belly softens and lengthens. Unspiral that shoulder a bit. Swoop the arm towards the head of the clock slowly. Breathe up into your ribs. Breathe into your waist. Breathe towards your hip creases. Now I'm going to let my head roll off of my arm, the one I'm lying on, and reach my arm up on this high diagonal. Okay, so if this is 12 towards the head of the clock, head of the mat, then this is kind of swinging towards 1. If you're on a big pillow, your head could be on the pillow. Okay, so I've opened up a little bit more into my ribs and chest and belly, and then we'll swoop forward again, coming down towards the thighs. Creates a lot of tension into our fronts, particularly up into our chests, but feel how that contracts between the pubic bone and the bottom of your sternum. Lengthen that region. Breathe. Let's change our minds, contract down a little bit towards the legs again, just a tiny bit. Lengthen a little further. And letting our heads roll back, and we go towards that high diagonal. Let your head follow your hand and arm. And then again, rolling onto our side. Arm can swoop down towards the thighs. Belly contracts. Slowly release. Feel how the muscles that run around you through your waist start to open. Breathe. And letting the arm go a little further on the clock, towards maybe 3. Now avoid trying to get your arm to the floor. That's not our goal. We're trying to take back voluntary control of lengthening our muscles, not stretching them. Okay, and then in the audio lesson, we practice that a few more times. And then, so let's go forward again, contract into our fronts, release, taking breaths, breathing, letting the head roll and look towards the arm. So my arm is out to the side of my chest as opposed to forcing my arm to the floor. Now in the lesson, I ask you to see what would happen if you just continue to roll on your back, let your legs lengthen, and you flop onto your back. Okay, you will not land perfectly straight, but it's a really nice way to just let everything go through the center and just land on your back. Take a few breaths, and you end up in this kind of cattywampus starfish position, and just take some breaths, particularly into your focus side. And then you could straighten yourself up. But this is what I see a lot of folks do. They have tension, and you should, as you do the pectoral clock, it should get less and less tension so you can easily roll on your back. But if you're coming into this position and then you're actually holding tension in your front, and you can't just lengthen into onto your back and let your legs go, then people will do this. They'll walk onto their feet and then they'll roll onto their backs. So practice this movement and start seeing if over time you can just let it all go. All right, you land in a not perfect straight position, but just take some breaths. Then you can straighten yourself up and assess how you feel down the focus side, the other side. And this movement, of course, should be preceded by some other movements like arch and flatten, wash rag, side bend. And there's no judgment whether you can flop onto your back or not, but with practice, it should become easier. Rolling over was a big deal as a baby, and it's a big deal as an adult. We want to be able to maintain that ability to do that. So that is the pectoral clock, and of course you would practice it on the other side. So how did it go? How do you feel after doing that movement? Hopefully you've practiced it on the other side. I'd love to hear from you down below. Let me know what you learned about yourself. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe. If you are here on YouTube and you're looking for somatics and you're like hunting and pecking for videos and trying to address certain things about your own body and issues, please visit my website, thinksomatics.com, and consider becoming a member of the online learning community, because I offer 3 different membership plans and you're getting new material all the time, and they're full-length lessons as opposed to trying to cobble together some information from just these random videos on YouTube, because there's somatic educators out here and we want to help you, but we can do more in full-length lessons. If you're ready to step up your somatics practice, visit my website, thinksomatics.com. All right, I appreciate you being here. Ciao for now.